let's talk drop shotting. You know, this summer I've been fishing a bunch offshore, fishing shell bars, fishing brush piles, structure, even just suspended fish. And it's really forced me to kind of tweak and just become more efficient when it comes to my drop shot fishing. Because when it comes down to it, there's days out there when those fish, as big as they are sometimes, they just won't bite that 3/4 ounce football jig. They won't bite that giant swim bait or that giant crankbait. And you have to drop shot for them. And it's a weird thing in summer because it's usually pretty stagnant, pretty stable weather. So you're not dealing with crazy fronts in that. But what you are dealing with a lot of times is different bait movement, whether it's suspended or next to the brush pile or in the pile, and just the mood of the fish. I mean, sometimes they just get weird. You get a little cloud cover, they spread out, they get active. You get some high sun, they get really tight to the pile. Let's get some high sun and they stack up on a shell bar. They're moody, so you have to have a lot of rods on deck and a lot of variation in your baits to really get bit and really take advantage of all the bites that are there. And drop shotting really plays into that situation. Let's start real quick and let's just break down what we got right here. The rod that I like to use is a Ballz 712. It's a medium light. It's a little bit longer. It's got a nice kind of soft little tip to it, but a ton of backbone. Landed a bunch of 6.5 pound fish on this, and it really allows the drag to do its work. It works that tip, but it allows that drag to kind of kick back and forth, but not put too much pressure on the fish. The other trick I've noticed is I get a lot of dead weight bites, especially fishing around the brush, and that tip really allows me, I'm not the most on point when it comes to bites, so it really allows me to kind of feel for that bite before I hit them, and it really loads up real nice once I do. Reel wise, I have a Shimano Symetra on here. You know, when it comes to drop shotting, this isn't a super high-end reel, but this is one of the applications I'd recommend going with a high-end reel. That smoothness, the extra bearing, is just that overall solid feel really helps you to pick up on bites and feel through just real slow what you're going through. The Symetra is a good kind of medium though. The drag on it is absolutely sick, and that's what you need when you're dealing with these fish, especially with the way I got it set up. And what I'm talking about is I run braid on here. This is actually Fireline, it's crystal. You know, I run 10 to 14 pound depending on the situation. The reason I run crystal, they say it's clear, it's not. But the reason I run it is that it's kind of like white in the water. And especially with this green water that we have here, or that semi-clear to clear kind of stuff, there's a high contrast between that white and the water. So I'm able to see when my bait's all the way down in the bottom and there's no more line running. I'm also able to see, you know, if there's jumps in the line for bites and that. It just gives me a lot of visibility when it comes to the line. It also offers me some possibilities when it comes to the leader I'm running. I'll run 8 pound fluorocarbon usually, Sunline FX Sniper or 100% trilene. But if I need to downsize to say 6 or 4 pound test, it's super easy to go and tie a double uni instead of re-spooling a reel. So it kind of gives you some flexibility when it comes to what line diameter you need and what you need to actually attack the cover or the type of fish you're going after. One little trick with the leader, and it's something that the guys up at Lake Lanier and Hammonds taught me. I used to be one of those guys that would run like a 3 to 4 foot leader. It's really important you run like a 10 to 14. And the reason for that, it's kind of twofold. One, you know, your leader knot isn't super big, so it slides through the guides, no problem. Plus, you know, if you're dealing with super clear water, you got a lot of space between the braid and the actual bait. The other thing is, if you do break off, instead of breaking off a 4 foot leader and having to retie the leader and the drop shot setup, it allows you to simply retie the drop shot setup, because more often than not, you're gonna break off like 3 or 4 foot chunks. You're not gonna break off your entire leader when you go that long. So it's just a win-win, and it gives you that flexibility, and that braid really allows you to feel bites. It works the fish a little bit better, and that's why you need that good drag, so it's real smooth coming out, but you'll land fish a lot quicker. It allows you to be a lot more in contact and fight the fish better. Terminal wise, you know, I'm a huge fan of these RoboWorm rebar hooks. They are absolutely awesome. They look just like your straight shank flipping hook with a keeper, but I use them for everything. You know, I use them when I'm rigging weedless, and I'm gonna talk about it in a second, but wacky rigging as well. They're solid, they don't open up, and they accommodate a wide range of drop shot style baits. Weight wise, you definitely want to go with the teardrop shape. Out of all the shape weights that I've used, this has been the most snagless. It's just been awesome all around. Doesn't get hung up compared to the ball weights and the cylindricals. So I'd highly recommend. This is a Davies. The teardrop, day in and day out, has just really worked great when it comes to shell as well as brush. Let me throw a quick tip to you too, and it's something I figured out. You know, I saw a bunch of fish on a shell bar, dropped down weedless, just vertical jigging them because they were just stacked, caught like 2-pounders. So I actually ripped up a worm and ended up rigging it wacky style, kind of like this. And I caught like a 4, a 3.5, another 3.5, another 4. I doubled the amount of bites I was getting, and I caught bigger fish. You know, the wacky rig, if you can get away with it when it comes to drop shotting, you need to be doing it. I don't know what it is. You know, I've had experiences when you're fishing spring, shallow, for spawning fish or pre-spawn, where you're throwing like a weightless wacky rig under docks and that, and they absolutely annihilate it. So I guess it's kind of the same philosophy when you're fishing offshore and fishing deep, but you definitely need to try out wacky rigging when you're drop shotting. It's absolutely crazy, and literally you will double your bites that you're getting. Give it a try and let me know, because seriously, it'll blow your mind. It blew mine. All right, let's talk baits really quick. You know, I put a lot of stuff on my drop shot rig, a lot. I like mixing it up and trying a bunch of different things. But if I had to pick one bait to put on my drop shot rig, there's no doubt about it, it would be a robo worm. They're poured by robots, but they kind of mimic like a hand poured setup. They're super, super supple, which makes them tear up real easy, but you get a ton more action out of them in comparison to your like manufactured baits like Zoom and things along those lines. They come in a mad range of colors, so you can really adapt to any situation. You can match the hatch, really contrast with the hatch. You know, one of my favorite colors is Aaron's Magic 2. Nice, starting to blow a little bit out there. But Aaron's Magic 2, they also offer some awesome shad and glass minnow mimicking patterns, some transparent with some smoke and some sparkle in it. And you know, no matter what kind of forage, no matter what kind of bait you're looking to mimic, they have what you need. And that super soft action, really, you know, you're gonna get bigger bites. And I've had that experience, you know, tossing out like a finesse worm and then going to something like this. I've gotten some bigger bites off this. Not to mention as well, they offer a variety of different body styles. You got a 4-inch, a 6-inch, I think there's a 7 and an 8, there's a double wide. There's a lot of variation, so you're not just restricted to your traditional little 4-inch finesse worm. There's a lot of options, and hands down, day in and day out, you're gonna get more and bigger bites on this thing. So that about caps up my drop shot setup. You know, if you guys have any questions, like I said, this is what I use. This is what I've been successful with and what I've been playing a lot with over the summer. It's what works for me. You know, you got to do what works for you when it comes down to it, but definitely give some of these things a try. I think you'll be surprised. I've put my time in. I've tried to kind of tweak my setup, the way I approach it, and be more efficient and get more bites out of my drop shot fishing. And I think I've been successful this past summer, and a lot of these tools that we mentioned just before have really helped me to do so. So definitely give it a try, guys. Let me know how it goes for you. Let me know about your tweaks too. I'm always curious to kind of learn and hear about new things. But hope this helps you out, and tight lines. We'll see you out on the water.